Call the meeting to order. Call it, yeah, we're bullshitting, sorry. We're getting full of crabs.
Fantastic.
Well, that's good. We didn't start yet by accident.
No, we were waiting for Melissa the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
We were-
Holding up the totem
we
pole.
were
It looks like we're
BSing
good.
about Crab pots. Anyway, so I'll call it to order whenever. Right now, good, 7:05. Hit it.
Roll call. Commissioner Jennings.
Present?
All right. Commissioner Oden.
Yep.
Commissioner McCann.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Burker.
Yes.
Commissioner Ford.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay.
Probably needs an agenda.
Motion, we need a motion for, I don't have an agenda for me, but motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make it.
Second.
Okay.
It's a
Any
detailed one.
discussion? Call the roll. There it is, right in front of you. Yep, that's it.
Roll call for approval of the agenda. Commissioner Jennings.
Yay.
Commissioner Oden.
Yep.
Commissioner McCann.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Burker.
Yes.
Commissioner Ford.
Yes.
That motion passed.
Motion to approve the minutes for the December 2nd meeting?
Second? I'll move. You second?
Yep, those two.
Or, sorry, yeah, move second.
Yeah, he's first, he's second, okay. Just call the roll. He, on
Okay,
the,
no discussion.
oh, discussion. Any discussion, comments, corrections? Forgot about that part.
All right.
All right, good, thanks for the reminder.
Yep. Roll call.
Yep.
Commissioner Oden.
Yep.
Commissioner McCann.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Burker.
Yep.
Commissioner Ford.
Yes.
Commissioner Jennings.
Yes.
That motion passed.
Cool. So we're on to Historic Preservation Commission activities, which is a placate holder. I'm not sure anything's been done, but anything been done?
I don't have anything to present.
No, I don't think Aaron does either. It's just kind of out there. Any communications? Citizens' comments?
We're breezing through it.
That brings us to Aaron can then introduce us to the next planning commission training, I believe.
That's correct. So tonight, the training topic is managing the meeting, which is just one 30-minute video. And this time there's no PDF document to kind of go along with this. So it's just the video. We will hear about how to kind of provide for a civil and orderly meeting while at the same time very much welcoming public engagement and discussions to kind of walk that line between those topics, having it orderly, but then also really open. And that. So I think without further ado, I think we can go ahead and play the video.
Hit it.
Hold on one second while I set that up.
Should I talk slower, Dan?
No, I'm working on it.
clear that we know what we're talking about. What's the difference between a public hearing and a public meeting? Is there a difference?
There is a difference, Michael. Public meeting is whenever a quorum of the public body is present, but the public may not be invited to participate. A public hearing invites the public to participate, and there's a specific time that they can participate in a public hearing.
Okay, so it's possible that a public hearing could be part of a public meeting?
That's correct.
Okay, so there can be some overlap.
Yes, there is.
Okay. So every meeting I've been to has got some sort of agenda, right? It gets posted ahead of time and so on and so forth. Where does that agenda come from? Is that something that the staff creates, something that gets created by the chair of the commission? How do you put together an agenda?
Well, staff creates the agenda. It's based on applications that come into staff, and typically it's on a first come, first served basis. Staff looks at the agenda and tries to make sure that there's not too many items on the agenda. We try to anticipate potential items that could be controversial or might have an interested neighborhood there that we would anticipate a lot of people coming out. If we do see an agenda that seems to be a little more crowded, we talk to the Planning Commission chairman to have their ideas about which items should be on the agenda and which items should not be on the agenda for a specific meeting.
So is there a case where an applicant may want to be on an agenda, but you decide, no, you know what, this isn't the right meeting, and then you have to tell them you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks? And have you ever done that, and how does that go?
Of course, we always do. We always tell people, it's important to tell people when they apply that this is the meeting we're aiming for, but inevitably something may come up. If you're third in line and we have 2 other cases that are in line, and we just know that these other cases are going to be long into the night. We don't want to start a meeting in the evening and go to late in the hours when people have to go to work the next day. We want to make sure that the neighbors and the community have an opportunity to speak as well without running the meeting too long.
So as a plan commissioner or as a staff member working with plan commissioners, what's the commissioner's responsibility regarding the hearing? And also, too, how is the chairperson's role different than the other commissioners?
Well, I'll start with the chairperson because that's probably the most important member on the commission, I
Okay.
think. The chairperson really needs to set and run the meeting and preserve decorum. We've all probably been in the meetings where the public starts clapping about one item or another, and I think that really could, in essence, hinder somebody with a differing opinion come up. So it's important for the chairperson to set that meeting, set some ground rules. The chairperson also runs the meeting via Robert's Rules of Order. And then he ensures that deliberation occurs, that there's discussion, that we talk about the standards there as well. Now, while he can't vote, he can't make a motion, he can vote and he can break ties as well. The commission members, it's important that they support the chairman in their role of setting the expectations from the public and when they can and how they speak and their decorum with the meeting. They're there to listen to testimony, to ask questions of staff, the public, and also the applicant as well, and to base their opinion and their findings of the case on the testimony that's provided based on the standards that are provided by staff or the zoning ordinance or whatever ordinance is applicable at that point. And then they can also make and second motions.
So we've only just started to dive into the runnings of a meeting, but it already sounds kind of complicated. And if I'm a resident sitting in the audience, I may not know what's going to go on. Is there value, or do you have an introduction or something that gets read at the beginning that says, here's what's going to happen?
Yes, I think that's very important to have that at the beginning of all the public hearings. Because like you did mention, there's a lot of people that this might be their first time coming to a Planning Commission meeting or Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. And so it's very important that the chairperson lays out sort of the order that things go into so people understand that, and also to allow people and tell people when they have an opportunity to speak. So there's generally a specific point in time where the public's afforded an opportunity to speak, and that's a great time for them to know that, okay, I'm going to be the third or fourth opportunity to speak here, and these other people are going to go before me.
So is there a general order to a typical Plan Commission?
Yeah, there's a typical meeting order to it. We generally call to order the meeting. The chairperson will call to order the meeting. Explain the rules and how the meeting is going to work. Let people know where information can be found, whether it's on the side of the council chambers or the chambers, and if it's online, if they can find it where they can, so if they want to follow along with the meeting. Then they generally review minutes, and then they go into the agenda portion of the meeting where they will open a public hearing or a specific case that they're talking about in the evening, swear in the audience members. I like to have staff give a presentation to present the case there and to explain the standards that are required to be met. The applicant then typically presents, And at this point, the Planning Commission or whatever commission it is can ask the applicant questions. And then it's open to the public, where the public can ask questions or make comments about the petition and the application. At that point, after that's all done and the questions have been asked, the commission members will typically ask any questions back to the applicant themselves. So if the public had questions, this is an opportunity to get those answers from the applicant, or if there's clarification that staff has to provide. Generally, the public hearing is then closed, so there's no more public comment at that point. And then the board deliberates, and they look at the standards and they discuss it throughout. Each member has an opportunity to speak at that point and discuss the meeting. The board typically will make a motion, and then the hearing will be closed, and then we always like to have the chairperson tell the public what the next steps are in the meeting. So if that was the final decision, or if there's an additional opportunity for them to comment at a village council meeting, for example.
So if not all the information's available or there's more discussion, is it possible for the meeting to be continued to another meeting where there needs to be more opportunity for input or information answered? And how do the residents know that they can come back to that meeting?
Of course. So if there's ever an opportunity where more information is needed or there's questions that are raised that need to be answered, the Plan Commission or whatever board can continue the meeting. That is typically continued to a date certain. So typically the next meeting on the agenda or the next meeting on the calendar. And then what we like to do is we tell people to check the website or to contact staff to see if there's any changes to the agenda, or if the item's being pushed back even further.
Okay, so there's plenty of opportunity for everybody to know what's coming up next.
There are. I like to have people contact staff to stay informed if they need to, or to check websites.
Okay, that's great, and I think that's an important message in general, is that staff is a resource to everybody involved in this process of a smooth meeting. The commission, the applicants, and also the residents.
Right, staff is definitely working for all three folks, for the commission members, for the applicant, and for the public. It's a public hearing, it's open to the public. We want to keep everybody informed. We want to make sure that people have an opportunity to speak.
So as part of the meeting process that you mentioned, you said staff does a presentation on the case. And so doesn't it sometimes seem like the staff is just up there making the pitch for the applicant, that they're just telling somebody else's story? Why does the staff make the presentation?
Well, staff has a professional obligation to make a professional opinion and an assessment of the case. So staff is going to look at the standards that are required for approval of a certain petition and ensure that those standards are met for the community. So staff is looking out for the community on a professional basis and to try to make sure a professional opinion in terms of standards and how the petition meets the standards, and also then how any application that comes forward meets the comprehensive plan or other planning documents that are in play.
Let's talk a little bit about the testimony, the part of the meeting where either the experts stand up and talk or the residents stand up and talk, because that can sometimes be a contentious part of the meeting. Are there ever limits on how much testimony there can or should be, or how many applicants or how many residents can speak? How does the whole testimony thing work?
Well, there's never really any limit to the amount of testimony that can be provided. We want to provide an open meeting to anybody who wishes to speak. I think the important thing is if we see a large crowd in the audience, to potentially set a time limit for each person to limit repetitive items here. So if it's a 5-minute or a 10-minute limitation on people speaking, that provides them with a basis of how long they can speak for and get their points across. If there's not much of an audience, then there's not really a need for time limits. But if you see a large audience, that's a good opportunity to have some time limits. Also, the chairperson, if he notes that any repetitive comments, if there's a spokesperson that's going to speak for the neighborhood, that's important too. So the spokesperson can come up and say, I speak for these fellow 20 residents out here, and these are our concerns. Then the board knows that there's 20 residents out there, and they're not each coming to the podium to speak, which takes time and can add time to the meeting. We like to encourage that no public discussion is held after the public hearing is closed. Once the public hearing is closed, no discussion should occur from the public, no additional comments. Additionally, we don't like to set end times, but we do try not to start cases too late in the evening if you have evening meetings. It's important the public has jobs and they have things to do, or kids to put to school in the morning. And so it's important that we maintain our time frames and allow them an opportunity to speak when it's not too late in the evening as well.
And I think that's a great point. I think everybody's got a story about a marathon meeting that went till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes those are necessary because a decision has to be made because of some sort of timing matter. But in general, when people are tired and they've been around a while, the decision and the discussion is probably not as good as it could be otherwise.
Correct, I would agree. It's really important that people tend to get tired. They've been sitting at the dais listening to testimony for a few hours there as well. And then there's also members of the public that have spent their evening waiting to speak. So in trying to keep the meeting moving along, a time limit sometimes is necessary. And I know sometimes there's discussion about whether the speaker should be one pro and one con person as well. And I don't think that's necessary. A lot of times you'll have a neighborhood group come out that's all against a proposal or all for a proposal. And I don't think it's fair to call out a pro versus a con and hear back and forth. Just let the opportunity for the public to come up. That goes back to meeting decorum, so everybody's clapping, then maybe that one person has a different opinion, is a little shy to come up, but we always encourage everybody to come up.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned it a couple of times that there can be clapping at meetings, and there can be kind of some emotional responses that are parts of the meeting. But so that can play out in the testimony as well. Some folks that will testify at a hearing, they'll be called expert witnesses, right? They're the traffic engineer or somebody with a professional background or the land planner. And then there are residents testifying. What's the difference in the testimony of, say, an expert witness and then a resident who's got a concern that they want to bring forward?
So an expert witness is someone who has the experience, knowledge, skill, and training in a specific area. So whether it's transportation, land use, or design, with the understanding of the evidence. And so they are making their determination and their testimony based on facts and how it applies and based on their experience and the application of those facts to the standards in the case. Now, an opinion from participants may be an anecdotal story or a hearsay rather than actual facts. And so some of those concerns may be very emotional, as you spoke to, that it affects them personally. And so sometimes those anecdotes become very personal and very emotional. The planning commissioners must take all of this into consideration, so it's a very unique challenge for them to take this all into consideration. But they really do need to look at the facts of the case and the standards of approval that are in the application.
So what we're saying is just because the concerns of a community might be very emotional and very real, or there might be a lot of people in the room, that's not necessarily what makes the decision.
That's correct. Really, the number of people in the room should not make a decision, should not change the decision of the board. The board should be looking at the facts of the case and how they apply.
So to take another step in terms of testimony, can anybody ask anybody a question at a meeting? So if the transportation engineer is up doing their presentation, can one of the residents just kind of politely raise their hand and say, could you please explain to us how many cars are going to be there? Is that the way the meeting works, or is there a structure to it?
There should be a structure to it. So you should have that resident, if that resident raises their hand, come to the podium or wherever the public is speaking and ask that question. I think it's easier, and it should be easier, if those questions are taken down by the commission members, and then after the public has spoken, address those questions back to the applicant so that they can answer those questions. The back and forth between two members of the podium just does not help decorum. Sometimes that can become more argumentative or emotional in that sense, and then I think we lose some of the qualities of a public hearing.
So the idea of maintaining decorum, and you mentioned this is part of the chair's role. I guess this is another point at which the chair is very important to this whole process. They're really kind of measuring this, and I know I've seen situations where the chair has really, again, politely and professionally had to say to people, thank you for your comment, we've heard that several times, is there anything new that you'd like to bring? And that can be a real tough job for a chair, can't it?
It's a very hard job, especially when the audience is full and everybody believes that their opinion is a little bit different than what was heard before. But it's important to continue the meeting along so that everybody has an opportunity to speak. It's also important that the chair holds these meetings and manages these meetings so that we don't get into argumentative ideas here or booing or anything like that. We should allow people to have an opportunity to speak freely without feeling pressured.
I think that's very important, and I've also seen situations where the rest of the commission can be helpful too, to the chair, that they may also remind the public, or they may phrase their questions in a way that kind of takes some of the emotion out of the room and really makes the case about fact.
Yeah, committee members are very important too as well, to back up the chairperson. I've seen it as well after some emotional testimony of taking a break, a 5-minute break, just to let emotions cool down a little bit and come back.
So let's turn a little bit to the idea of how do we make the commissioners better armed, if you will, to be able to do this. So if a commissioner gets their packet and they look through it before the meeting and they have a question about a fact or an idea or something in there, what do? Can they call staff? Should they call staff?
They should definitely call staff. If there's a question on the agenda, they should call staff to discuss what's going on. A lot of times, some of the questions that the commission members ask are more technical in nature about a zoning ordinance regulation, and so that's something that staff can explain to them, that this is what this means, this is how this is applied. If it's a question that they have for staff that really gets to the case itself, then it's better that we'll advise them to ask that question during the commission public hearing, because that's a good question for all the commission members to hear, and it's a good question to have answered in the public realm.
If the commission asks a question, or if there's parts of a case that might be require a specialty, do other members of the community staff ever come to the meeting, the engineer or other folks that aren't necessarily the planners?
Yeah, there's always an opportunity for other staff members to come. So if there's petitions that deal with transportation, your transportation engineer can come. If there's public works questions, any stormwater questions, an engineer could come. If there's other ideas out there that the planning staff doesn't have expertise on, it's important to draw those members that do, so that they can answer any commission questions or public questions.
That's great, because we know that it's not just the planners, the community development department that's part of the process. It's the entire community staff that help build the expertise that's there.
Correct. The planners tend to know a little about a lot of stuff, and so it's important to have those background experts and other staff members that have that specific expertise to answer those questions, and sometimes to get into the technical answers behind a specific question.
Do you typically have your corporation counsel at your plan commission meetings?
We do not have our counsel at the Planning Commission meetings.
Okay. I know that some communities do, and I think it's just sort of a matter of personal community preference.
It is a matter of community preference. Sometimes if we anticipate a very controversial item, we'll have counsel here, but for the majority of the items, there's no counsel.
You mentioned Robert's Rules, and that's the way that the chair runs the meeting. I think a lot of people think of Robert's Rules as sort of an arcane, confusing way to take over a meeting. Do you ever find that Robert's Rules causes a problem, or do you find that structure helps the meeting out?
I think the structure helps the meeting out. I think it's Robert's Rules light. I wouldn't say that all the Robert's Rules are followed, but I think generally in the process and how meetings are moved along, that's how Robert's Rules applies.
I think that's a very excellent way to describe it. And what about the role of the staff at the meeting in terms of helping out the commission as they're going through and kind of sorting out what to do? I mean, I know I've been at meetings where things maybe kind of go a little bit askew, or there's some confusion about how people should vote or where should we go. And is it all right for the chair to kind of look down at the staff and say, Stan, help me out here, what do I do? And does that happen, and is that sort of out of decorum of the meeting, or is that okay?
I think it's very important for the chairperson to do that. It moves the meeting along and makes sure that we're getting the answers and the recommendations that we need to move it to council. If there's any questions about voting, that's always important too, whether it's a even number board that night and whether you need a majority to vote for something or to approve something. And if it does end up in a tie, what does that mean moving forward as well? So that's very important. It also helps if sometimes the topic and the discussion can get off track. And so it's important for staff to draw that discussion back into what's being discussed and what needs to be approved that evening or what needs a recommendation that evening.
Do you ever stop and read back the motion to the commission on the same page and people know what they're voting for?
Yes, that's important to do. Sometimes the motions are very straightforward, but other times they're a little confusing, especially if somebody adds a condition or wants to change the motion slightly. So it's important to read that back to the commission members. It's also important to explain on some motion it's confusing. If you vote yes, you're really voting no for something, or if you're voting no, you're voting yes for something. So it's important for the members of the commission to understand what they're actually voting for.
I know that in a lot of places the recommendation is always you make a motion in the positive so people know how they're voting.
Right.
Absolutely. So we've talked about all this expertise that's involved, and we've talked about the role of the commission. The commission is going to be making a recommendation to the city council or the village board. If it's just a recommendation, what's the big deal about the plan commission and the public hearing? Why do they do this?
Well, the Plan Commission is important, and any public hearing body is, because they actually conduct the public hearing. So at council, it's a public meeting, but in this case, it's a public hearing where the people of the public are afforded an opportunity to speak. The commission members are members of the public, residents of the community, neighbors of the public, and so they have a different perspective on things. This could affect them personally, whereas staff may not live in the community or may not be affected by this. Additionally, the Plan Commission meeting has more interaction between staff, the applicant, the commission members, and the public. There's more discussion that takes place at these meetings as well. And then concerns about proposals can be addressed at that time too. The commission could choose to continue it so the applicant could work on something without having to move it before the council. The Plan Commission is also an opportunity. It may be less formal than a council meeting, and the public may be more comfortable if this is their first time coming to Village Hall or to City Hall to speak in front of people.
So there's a whole difference in the level of formality of the process. It's a little more inviting to the community, and I think what you said is also very important, is that the commission brings their expertise as residents of the community, which is also very valuable as the process plays out.
Correct, and a lot of the commission members may be professional engineers, architects, or in the field, and so they also bring their expertise and their background and their knowledge of other projects that go on or similar projects in other communities.
Another question about the technical aspects and the expertise. Again, same sort of thing. Planners are trained professionals, a lot of them have master's degrees. There's an engineer that's involved. There might be any number of experts and professionals. Again, how does the Plan Commission fit into that if there's all these experts with all these degrees reviewing it?
Well, Plan Commission plays an important role because they want to make a recommendation, and they're looking out for their community themselves. And they're trying to make sure that what's proposed or what's applied for meets the standards in the zoning ordinance. And it's a check and it's a recommendation for us. They're interested in making their community a better place, and they want to provide a place for the public to speak and offer their opinions. And so that's what the Plan Commission does.
So as a staff, how do you go about providing training or some understanding to the commissioners of how the meeting is going to run? I mean, part of having a good meeting, an effective meeting, is having a well-trained commission. How do you help the commissioners understand how to do a good meeting?
Well, we always talk to our chairperson before the meeting and explain what's on the agenda and what's coming up and what we anticipate as a staff is any potential issues. We try to hold training with the Plan Commission members once every couple of years at the minimum to talk to them about new rules and regulations, new laws that have come out, and to see if they have any concerns about how the staff reports are written, how the meetings are held, and how information is provided to the public. So we try to provide them with information in these training opportunities like we're doing today.
So Stan, we've talked a bit about the complexities of the meeting, the importance of the chair in maintaining decorum, keeping the meeting going. What would you say are some of the top 3 or so qualities of a good Plan Commission chair or a good commission chair in general?
The first one would be that I believe the chairperson has to be a little empathetic. A lot of people will be coming to the Plan Commission meeting for a first time to a public meeting, and they might be a little scared, they might be a little emotional about something that might be affecting them. So to be able to be empathetic to that person and let that person talk, but while still maintaining the rules. I think secondly, the chairperson has to be somebody that runs a well-oiled meeting in terms of making sure that things are followed, the rules are followed, that the process is followed, the due process is provided. I think it's also important that that person can draw comments out from the different commission members. It's important that everybody has an opportunity to speak and that he offer that opportunity to everybody to make their comments. And then also to make sure that if there is a discrepancy or a difference of opinion on the commission, that difference of opinion doesn't boil over into an argument, that there's a professional decorum, there's a professional understanding between the two people of how they act, and that both commission members act responsibly and professionally.
So there's a lot of different hats. You're kind of a referee some of the times, and you're sort of the helper some of the times. And what about the times where the audience might be getting out of control, or people are making comments that are maybe a little bit inappropriate? What does the chair have to do to reel that in?
Well, I think the chair needs to make those comments known and to hit the gavel and to let people know that we're going to operate in a professional manner here, and that the cheering or the booing really could impact who wants to talk that time. And this is an opportunity for everybody to speak. We may not agree with everybody's opinion, But again, it's important that everybody has that opportunity. This person that disagrees with you has the same opportunity as you. And so whether that's asking people to quiet down, to remind them not to clap so loudly and to remind them not to clap at all, or then if it does get out of hand to hold the meeting or to pause the meeting and let everybody calm down emotionally.
Great, I think that's very true. So the rest of the commission and the part that they play, obviously we described it before, we talked about their role, and they help the chair and they're responsible for all these points of decorum, making motions, whatnot, if the meeting's going to run well. What kind of background do commissioners have? I mean, they're obviously residents of the community, but do they have to have a background in planning or real estate or anything like that?
No, there's no real requirement to have any backgrounds. It's anybody in the public that's interested. Some people come into planning late and decide a project maybe impacted them and they'd like to learn more and they become involved in the Planning Commission. Sometimes it can just be a school teacher who likes to be involved in the community. Really, anybody with any background who is interested in serving is a good opportunity for a Planning Commission member. The APA has opportunities. We share with the commission members planning magazines, planning articles. It's important that if somebody's brand new to this planning world, that they're provided a background in terms of what other communities are doing or what the practices are. We provide training opportunities to those commission members if they're brand new. And also, there's a good balance between somebody with a technical background and somebody with a resident background who may have a different profession.
So people don't have to be expert on parking ratios for mixed-use developments in order to become a plan commissioner.
Not at all. That's why there's a staff.
That's great. Thanks
Great.
very much.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
So where do we go from here? Any comments?
Any questions, comments for our?
Kind
Ms.
of
Rangers?
interesting. I ain't
Yeah,
got a
I think
gavel, I need a gavel.
I think a good part of it is important is that just because the room's packed full of one side, the other side needs to get a fair shake, get a chance to get up there. Sometimes that can get snowballed and run right out of there without
Yeah,
even getting
not
a
feel
chance.
intimidated by, yeah.
More empathetic, encouraging. True. We've had arguments break out. Kenny handled them well, you know. Things happen.
Where's your white and black shirt?
Striped.
Striped.
Referee.
Yeah, I have to borrow one from the ice rink. Anyway. But, interesting. There was a gavel here. I've heard Kenny hit it. Where'd it go?
It's probably in that drawer right there.
Tell 'em you gotta buy your own.
Yeah. You never know. They gotta hide it so nobody steals it.
You gotta check behind it.
Cool. I know where the gavel is now. I learned something. Aaron, anything?
I don't have anything further to add. I think it really, that video, I think really kind of covers a whole bunch of material and situations. And as we talked about last month, you know, this is definitely a larger community in a different area of the United States. But as you guys have already discovered, there's plenty of things to glean from the discussion and to apply to our situation. So I guess I have nothing further to add.
Thanks. What's next on the agenda?
Unfinished and new business where there is no business.
That's right, that's what I thought. Anything else?
Staff reports.
Yeah, staff reports. What staff are here? You?
I am here.
Can't, mayor's here too, but anyway.
Yeah, and the mayor's here. We do have a new building inspector.
Awesome.
His name is Jonathan Fuentes. He's been with us about 2 weeks.
So let's not
And,
bore him to death yet.
Yep, and he's trying to get his feet wet and keep things organized, and I think he's doing a good job.
Good,
And
that's
so,
encouraging.
More to come there.
Is he full-time?
Yes,
Yep,
it's a full-time position.
okay.
And is he located here in Nome, or is he?
Yeah.
He lives-
He lives here.
Yep.
Yep.
He's involved with La Casita, his significant other
Okay.
Uh-huh.
has that. And he's got kids in high school here.
No.
His
No.
kid graduated last year.
Graduated last year, that's
Yeah.
right. That's it.
Joined
Recently.
the Army or Marines. or
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
When did all that happen, as far as? One left and new one.
One left, does that mean Cliff is gone?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the
Cliff is gone.
and Johnny filled his role.
Yep. Well, and ideally, there's quite a bit of work in this town. I think that there's enough work for 2 inspectors.
At this point, with everything going on, for sure.
And so, I hope that, we'll be able to get the other position advertised here soon and,
At least part-time, but I don't wanna say that full-time would be perfect.
yeah.
Mayor, anything? Good to see you. Glad to have you.
Yeah, just showing up, still on the same plan of I won't make you do anything I wouldn't do too. Sorry I'm late, I was escorting a group of Korean dignitaries around all day, so.
Can you give us any, Korean dignitary report?
It was primarily a learning reconnaissance mission from their standpoint. Some of the staff had researched a lot about Nome, and so they had an interesting handbag full of questions that I was able to shed some light on.
Great.
The delegation was from Busan, which is the second largest city in Korea and is their maritime capital. Last time they had snow was 15 years ago in March, so they all barely remember it, and we're really excited about seeing all the snow and ice in Anchorage and Nome. They're a little less impressed with having flight delays due to snow.
It's snowing hard in Anchorage.
We just took them to the airport just before 7 to catch the 7:30 for 8:10 departure. I don't know, the date is all messed up on
The
flight.
delayed flight, yeah.
Left at 6 and supposed to arrive at 8:20, so do
Anchorage
the
has
math
got
and
like-
go, what?
Anchorage's got like 14 inches and still snowing.
Anchorage?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would explain why it's a little bit late, yeah, I was wondering if that's.
They're getting hit pretty hard.
The only other question that I had relative to anything here tonight was on the building permits. Report there, I was seeing a lot of zeros, and then I saw a kind of large number, and I was wondering about I thought that the building, in which case are the building permits not free?
If they're over a $500,000 valuation, they're not free.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
That was what the city council decided whenever they changed it.
However long
right?
ago that was.
Yeah,
And so anything under that amount at the current time
it's free.
is waived until it expires in 2027.
It's true. It has
Or-
it has a sunset date.
Do that
Or
since-
unless the council could get rid of it if they wanted to.
Before or extend it at that time.
Yeah, they could do either.
That's true.
And often do.
So they ready to throw down all their money and buy up Nome? I'm just teasing.
I think it's a little early to really say very much about what they may or may not be interested in. Again, it's simply reconnaissance, get to know what,
Boots on the ground, see what's
Yeah.
going on. It's
Are
good.
capital, people are bringing capital or potential to bring capital in town, or they?
That's all the
well,
hope.
there are 4 dignitaries and his entourage, including a lot of press and so forth. So, it's all government, it's not really private Korean companies yet. They're just wondering what Nome looks like, feels like, tastes like. Good thing they didn't step in it. Will it be a concrete step? Well, it could be. They have a lot of experience in what we're about to proceed to do. So any amount of edification we can get from them that might be a word of experience, word to the wise, we should
Take it.
at least read it once, and if it applies, great. If it doesn't, well, we should keep looking, because I think any of us know everything we need to know to proceed to do about what we have embarked upon as a community.
Mhm. Well, thanks. Give us a little update. Take some mystery out of the dignitaries. And appreciate it. I think that's it for staff and mayor. We're into commissioner reports.
Commissioner reports, Commissioner McCann,
Nothing.
Commissioner Jennings. Okay, Commissioner Ford.
I really hope that we have some signage ordered for this summer, because we have like so many streets that have no label at all.
Yeah, they all-
It's
true.
just pathetic. It's really difficult for visitors to get around town, and I think that's, I've brought it up before and I'm bringing it up again. Now's a good time to place the order.
So they can get in the ground when
So
it's thaw.
so they'll be here come spring. That's all I got to say.
Commissioner Oden.
No comment.
Okay. Commissioner Berker.
No comment.
Commissioner Smith.
Thanks for everybody coming. Great to have a new person. Hope to keep everybody interested, and it was a painless training. I even learned something, where the gavel is. But appreciate it. Thanks, guys. See you. Now we got a next meeting date,
February 2nd.
February 2nd. Work for everybody?
As far as I know. Yep.
Hopefully it isn't as cold. And need a motion to adjourn, I believe.
Make a motion?
Second.
Second.
Meeting's adjourned at?
Meeting's adjourned? Or you want me to roll call the adjournment?
Get out of here.
All in favor of A?
Aye.
A.
Aye.